peers did over this summer.
All right. Thank you, Carlos. Next slide. Yeah. So, like Carlos was stating before, we wanted to combine a bit of art with science. So, knowing that we could darken the tape strips using the coal dust accumulated by the CSX terminal, we wanted to write letters or messages. Here, Vilma is holding up. Vilma is holding up a sign using the coal accumulated by the CSX terminal. We wrote a message, and that message was also sent to the Maryland Department of Environment. We sent messages to 5 different members of the MDE, and yeah, if we could go to the next slide, or am I missing anything? Okay. So here is another picture of some of the messages we sent out. Coal, there, coal trees, harmful, and then breathe up there. But yeah, these are like some of the messages that we were able to produce using the accumulation of coal dust. There you go. So here we could see how we got these messages. Um, Here is one of the community members' houses where we stuck the tape strips to. We didn't put them exactly outside of the coal terminal, but we were still able to accumulate a good amount of coal dust in just a couple days. And over here, you can see myself working on some prototypes cassettes. These cassettes will be used. Do you want to explain it better? You got it. Okay. 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 So we have an idea of making a health panel study. We will have around 14 different people.
Yeah, around up to 20.
Up to 20. Okay. We'll have around 20 people in various parts of the community have these cassettes outside their homes. It will be able to collect coal dust, and then we will also ask them to write in their diary about how the coal dust is affecting their daily lives. Um, how it's affecting their daily lives. We are measuring how it's affecting people's health, whether they feel any nausea, sickness. We also are tracking if there's anything outside. So if there's like a large amount of coal dust accumulating outside their house, they could also report that. If there are sounds of machine keeping them up late at night, they could also report that. Anything that is affecting their daily lives, they could report that, and which we will use to document and hopefully create change. Is there anything I'm missing? Okay. So if we could go to the next slide. All right. All right. So yeah, Greg here will talk about something.
Who knows? Thanks, Minor. Do I need the microphone? So one question we always ask ourselves is, what does it mean, and why is the community in the position of having to do all of this work? One thing that we always center ourselves on that question, given the proximity of the coal terminal to the community and the fact that it's not subtle, it's difficult to miss that you have a giant uncovered pile of coal and coal trains, and then you have dark dust. Well, part of the reality is raw power. It's a multi-billion-dollar company, and they're responsible, but they are very effective at avoiding responsibility and accountability. The other thing is that there are 70 to 100 other pollution sources. So it's a cumulative impacts issue, which is a major theme of this conference, and more importantly, the work of communities to try to resolve through policy. It also puts the community at a disadvantage because what this company has said, and we have Public Information Act request records going back over a decade of residents saying, I have dark dust on my house, I believe and know it to be coal dust, I need you, the government, to set standards so we don't have that anymore. And the response of the government is, well, you effectively, I don't know if there's any MDE people here, or others, but you haven't proven that it's coal dust. And the company says, well, we're the ones who are getting polluted. We're the ones who are polluted by diesel trucks and other, I mean, believe me, they really do say that. That's their line. We're the ones who are being victimized by other industry. We're the facility that does the clean, best thing ever. We're the ones who are being impacted negatively. So the burden, because of our policy framework, our legal system, and power imbalances, are put in a position where, yes, it is actually not just us nerding out on community science methods. It's actually, we've gotten to this point where after decades of failure, we're at a point of not relying on this exclusively, but adding this as a tool in the toolkit to try to get things done that we haven't been able to get done in the past that are about people's lives. So I just want to help bring us up to where we are now after you can see the amazing amount of work that's been done, and the quality of it is, as Carlos mentioned, the company blew up. That did heighten the level of attention and resources that the government was willing to put forward. We pulled our team together to do this over the past several years. Now they're finally in a process, a public process, to have their draft permit, which they need to operate. It's a 5-year permit to operate, being issued by the government. The community's call was, don't renew the permit. We didn't achieve that yet. Where we are now is a draft permit's been issued. The big new thing that's the easiest to understand is physical barriers would have to be built surrounding the entire terminal at the height of the terminal. What do physical barriers mean? That's one of the problems. It's incredibly vague. So we have essentially 90 days or so until December 15th to generate as much public comment and scrutiny and attention to this as possible. The next big date coming up is October 10th, when there's a public hearing at that yellowish building, which is the rec center. There's now that warehouse in between the community and the terminal. It doesn't, as we've demonstrated, stop the dust by any means. But we're putting this up here, and if you could press play on that video, just to show a week after their draft permit is issued, where you would like to think that they're going to be under their absolute best behavior and they know everyone's watching. This is what we witness when we're sitting on a 5:30 in the afternoon, one of these beautiful late summer days. We've been having kids are playing to my left, and we're actually orienting a person on a tour of the community, and we start seeing what looks like a fire coming out from behind that warehouse. Well, what's made this different from every other time we've seen this is we had a person with a, gosh knows how much, $10,000 drone who was able to fly it up in real time and catch them on the third try doing this. So we reported in real time to Maryland Department of the Environment, who then got on the phone and said, what the who knows are you doing? And they stopped, but not until about 30, 45 minutes had gone by. And so now we're right back where we were with the explosion. They caused a massive dust storm. We've pushed, the government has issued a notice of violation, but what is it actually going to take to break this decades-long horrible tradition and pattern of treating the community like it literally doesn't exist, or that it's disposable, or both? And that's where we are. We don't have all the answers other than we have to build as much pressure as we can to not let this issue fall out of being front and center of our policymakers' attention, because it's communities living with it every day, and we've got to make it that unavoidable. So we're inviting everyone to engage in the process. October 10th is a public hearing, but the comment period is open right now to make your voice heard. And this issue is Curtis Bay is at the center of it, but as the team explained, people across the city and the state and the country are part of this, because the coal is either moving by your home or someone you care about in another part of the country. So we all have the right to stand up and demand better for this situation, and that's what we're asking everybody to do. I don't know if there is a next slide, but
How do you make a comment?
okay, yeah. So to make comments, you simply you would want to read the draft permit, which is accessible on Maryland Department of the Environment's website. We are going to get out the invitation to the public hearing, but you can submit comments by email. Would be the best way. You can write an old-fashioned letter and send it to the Department of the Environment. But you can send your comments. There's actually a website on MDE's page that's dedicated to this whole coal terminal issue. So if you Google Curtis Bay Coal Terminal, Maryland Department of the Environment, you'll get to a landing page that has that report that we co-published along with the current status of the draft permit, and then the process to issue the public comment. And then we have our own invitation that we're sending out, because we're hosting the public comment meeting in the community to go beyond what the government's doing to make sure it's truly accessible. Translation services will be there, and we're currently with a lot of amazing work getting outreach materials to every single house in the community and beyond, which 2 people who are leading that are in this room, to make sure that everyone really knows this is happening well in advance, right? We're a month out. So that's where we are, and it's a huge undertaking. The measurement, though, is really clear. Is this actually going to create any additional, like, serious investment? Like, is the company gonna have to expend thousands or small millions of dollars, or are they gonna have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to actually do something about this? I think we know or could expect what their objective is gonna be, which is to, again, minimize cost as low as possible. For the community, it's not about money, it's about people's lives, but it does come down to how much are they required to invest to solve or significantly reduce this problem. And there's the, I'm assuming that QR code goes to register for the meeting, for the public hearing.
Great, thank you so much, Greg. I think that before we open the floor up for questions, I just kind of wanted to pitch a question to the scholars, the wonderful youth scholars that we have here today, and kind of allow you all to hear more about their experience this summer. So, Ryan, if you want to start, if you want to come up here.
Hello, everyone. So real quick, just thank you, Laura. I'm going to talk about my experience over the summer. So like I previously stated, I'm a photographer. A lot of my work, it's versatile. God knows what I'm doing one day. But as for the summer, I knew the second that this opportunity was brought up in my anthropology class, I knew that I wanted to find a way to integrate the arts into science. I think it's an important thing that not enough people talk about, and I think it's really, really crucial to give people in communities like this a platform where they're represented, a place where they can speak, and images that they can share amongst people, because at the end of the day, it's all about knowing what's happening in our communities. That's the important part of it, because no issue is going to be known unless it's pushed out to people. So I think it's really, really important. But yeah, over the summer, I really, really enjoyed what I did. I never really saw it as an issue to me. I was like, okay, it's happening, but it doesn't affect me. Until I found out how close one of these rail lines are to my home. It's very, very close, under 100 feet. It's very, very close. And the more I think about it, I've been going to high school for 4 years now. So Benjamin Franklin, I mean, you saw that there is coal near there. And it's sad that I have to go to school every day and deal with that, because I'm outside doing things and I'm breathing in that air all the time. And I see families walking around, and I just feel really, really bad. And I think it's unacceptable that we have to go through this. But I was really, really glad that over the summer we were able to tackle some of these issues and really, really stand up for something that we all believed in. So yeah.
Do any other scholars want to come up and talk about their experience? You can.
Hello, everyone. My experience over this summer was possibly the best summer I've ever had. As Ryan knows that, as I repeatedly tell him. And when I first was offered this opportunity to do this summer internship in my anthropology class, I took it up simply because I had nothing else to do over the summer, and I quickly found out that I wasn't doing this just to simply be doing this. I was doing this because there was purpose behind it. Every single photo Ryan took, every single tape strip that we carved out, every single march, all of it had purpose. None of it was being done in vain. We're doing this to help people out, to help out the community. All of this is being done for the people, by the people. And that's what made me really enjoy this summer. And that's. I'm blanking.
No, you're fine. You just said like the most beautiful thing. Yeah, you were great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. So I think oh yeah, Vilma, do you want to come up? Or you can talk from there if you want to talk about your experience. I mean, sorry, Vicky. Vilma already spoke. Do you wanna come up?
Hi, like she said, I'm Vicky. So I did the program. I wasn't even in the class to begin. Everyone was like in the class, but I wasn't in the. I can't say that word. That word. But I joined it just because my friend Vilma was in it. But I learned a lot. Like I didn't know any of this, to be honest, about like the coal dust and everything else we'd learned about. And I didn't realize how close and how much it impacted everyone and families that were like right there close to it. Yeah, it was just like, I guess it was meaningful in a way because like it like opened my eyes, I guess you can see, to like a whole different view of Brooklyn and everything. And it's really interesting to see when we have like things like this where people come and meet up, because it's like some people actually care. But then there's other people who just don't know or have no idea that this is going on in their own like neighborhood. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, thank you all. This was wonderful, and we'd love to hear your questions.
So my question, I was looking at the video when it was coming on, right? So I'm guessing that's a coal building, or what was the yellow building? What was that?
The yellow building or
Yellow building with the smoke behind it coming up?
the rec center?
There's three buildings. Maybe go back to it so everyone
Yeah.
can see it.
That's building.
So the cream-colored building,
The white building, I'm sorry.
the white building is a new warehouse that was built. It's not related to the coal terminal. It's just in between the community and the coal terminal.
Okay, so what is the coal used for? Like, what do we need as people for coal?
Yeah. So it's all being, someone else can. It's all being exported overseas. A lot of it's going to India, some to other countries, and then it's burned. So it's an energy source not being used here. And overall, the use of coal in the country is going down, but mining is continuing to happen, and so export of coal is dramatically increasing.
That's why.
And I think to add to that also, the coal terminal here, one of the things when the explosion happened was there was like, basically there was a hearing that happened that people were just like, thank you guys for your service. You guys are doing great because this is like helping with the thermal crisis around the world. But then we really actually did a class that found out most of it is actually steel. It's actually steel coal. It's not. It's like wood steel. It's for steel.
Great. Yeah.
So you guys talked about a lot about your work. How do you communicate that to your community, as well as do you share it with your classmates? Do you have any way to do that?
I'll take it. I'll take this one. So fun enough that you mentioned that, I'm actually planning an event with the principal in order to have a sort of presentation at our school, as a way to kind of let everyone else in school basically know what we worked on over the summer, because I've seen it when I'm talking to them about it. They also don't know anything about this. So I think as an important way, at least in terms of the school aspect of it, I think an event like that can really open people's eyes. And at least if they take anything away from it, that it is affecting them. That's what I really want to communicate, that it is affecting them. And if they act on it, then that's great. And if not, then it's completely okay. I just think, for me at least, I really, really want people to know about this. And I think telling my fellow students would be great. As for the community side of things, I would say that is really, CCBA, the Community of Curtis Bay Association, that's the one. It's really, really people like the groups of people that go to those and allow for different groups of people, such as police officers talk, and people from like rec center events and stuff. Think just overall community members going to meetings like that and participating in certain groups like that. It really brings a sense of unity to everyone. Everyone's knows what the issue is, and they're so determined to work. Like Greg here, for example. Greg is so determined for this work, and like watching him over the summer, it was so good to see that. And I can see how so many people in the community can really learn, take a lot of things away from people like that, like really pioneers of this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really admire what you kids did, and it's really important because I was lucky enough as a 12th grader to be involved in an AP Environmental History project in Massachusetts, where the paper mills were polluting the rivers near our school. And we did the same thing. We collected the data, we analyzed the data, talked about how much cotton fibers and what wasn't alive, and we did the counts of the stream. And then we wrote an article to the local newspapers, and that made a difference in them starting to really regulate, because this is in Western Mass near Vermont border. It's basically could be environmental injustice because it was out there. And so it made a difference, and they really started writing legislation. So you guys continue to do that. This is our dream in Washington, D.C., to get the young people involved. I'm a doctor now, but I've been an environmentalist since we went out and did those samples in high school. So this is really important what you do. Really is.
I got a question. I was just in the conference downstairs. I don't know how many of you were downstairs. And they were talking about building a steel mill. And they were going to use coal. So I'm trying to figure out, you're trying to eliminate coal, and here they are talking about building a steel mill to make the windmills. So I would like to hear some of you guys. Were you downstairs for the lunchroom conference? And when they talked about steel mills. So I'd like to hear one of you guys' opinion of what do you think about them introducing more steel mills and coal? Because I'm from West Virginia, and I know what coal and like you're talking about, the coal cars used to come down our track all day, all night, and coal falls off, and they never covered it. And I know people had black lung, and we lived near DuPont, and I understand that. But I'm seeing you guys are trying to make some progress, and here they come in and want to bring more coal into the neighborhood. So can one of you guys address or make a comment about that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could take it. So I think it's sort of more of a detailed kind of approach to it. When we're talking about this coal terminal, we talk about, of course, the export, the mining, and all the storage of coal is bad. But what we like to bring into attention when we talk about, the work that we're doing is that the proximity it is to the community, right? We believe that as a community, this is where people are growing up, this is where kids live, and there's not just like Mom Greg was mentioning, like coal, if there's no safe place to keep it from coming into the community, it should not be in the community. And something that I might like about what was said yesterday was like, if it's our community today, in the future it will be somebody else's community, right? And that's from Shoshana in front of me.
Hold on now.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just that.
You just gonna quote me in the room with me.
And it's like, it's really getting into that approach where it's like, they're not. This isn't a problem with just the CSX terminal. It's all the 70 to 100 polluting facilities in the community, right? It's all about, there's either doesn't matter if who was here first. Like there's community. There's people living here now, and it's gotten to the point where it was so bad with industries and polluting facilities that not a lot of people are aware of it. But three neighboring communities of Pretty Bay was completely wiped off the map. And that's been like Hawkins Point, Wagner's Point, and Fairfield, right? Same thing, they were talking about how it was a thriving community. They talked about snapping turtles and how they had to see their water turn green. And so I think when you're getting into like there is a bunch of good things, bad things, but when it comes to like coal, it's more, when we talk about it, it's like the storage it and transporting it in an unsafe way. We're so close to where people live.
So this plant that they're talking about is not going to be near people?
I think
what we're trying to work, there's two things. One is what do you do with facilities that already exist in overburdened communities? There we're putting forward the challenges, you know, you recognize that there's already a lot of cumulative impacts and burdens, so what do? You can look at when their permit is renewed as an opportunity to set higher standards. You could view things as, I mean, it just keeps thinking about more and more. People who are living across the street and throughout the community are like unpaid workers who at the facility were dealing with the unpaid cleanup costs, and yet there's no mitigation, there's no representation of that economically. So there's so many opportunities here, and what we're trying to do is not to say this group or the broader community has all the answers, but we're trying to center the questions and then bring it to policymakers, everyone, and say, look, we're setting all these big Maryland climate goals. They're dwarfed. Like if everyone switched to electric appliances, but we're still exporting 2/3 of the nation's coal, what are we doing? Like we're not even grappling with it. So it's more about just transition and putting forward the main harms that are done and saying clearly this is not the system that anyone should feel good about. Let's work towards something that incorporates all those perspectives and gets to a better place. We've put out things like just transition away from coal to another material, not to have no economic activity. It's next to the port, but to get it, what would make it compatible or incompatible with ability to have a decent life, right? So, but I think when you talk about a new facility, then you're getting at, well, that should be an opportunity to model doing it the right way. So then you get into things like, well, what's the ownership structure? If it is near a community, is it a consensual relationship or is it imposed? Where do you go to a place where it won't worsen existing injustices? It should be an opportunity to start fresh versus a real estate deal that just looks at the things that drive real estate deals. That's when we're in the bad territory that got us here in the first place. That's my take, and that's the kinds of things that we're trying to grapple with.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you all. Presentation yesterday and today is really great to hear from all of you. You might know in Norfolk and Newport News, Virginia, they have these massive coal piles as well, and that are right next to the Southeast community of Newport News, the Lamberts Point community in Norfolk. I was wondering if either the Community Land Trust or any of you have been in touch with some of the community members there who are trying to do some of this, you know, trying to mobilize and trying to do something, especially with the sort of gathering of information, research, and science. Some of those things I didn't know if people there had talked with you or you've talked with them about your efforts.
Plus the nationwide that have cut for coal trains.
Yeah,
Part of that.
yeah. So yeah, well, there's definitely that communication back and forth. Like it's with when we're talking about like the coal trains, right? There is this. We're working with those people from West Virginia and those same people as well as other groups and organizations across the state to get EPA to, because the rail lines is a federal thing, and so we're trying to get that at that federal level where it's getting those organizing amongst each other and working together to get those, hopefully get the EPA to require those coal trains to be covered.
And on the science side, there's a great collaboration with some folks in Virginia who work more on coal mining, but are lending their skills to help in South Baltimore with the analysis of some of the coal dust that people are finding. And then I think what we've seen is a over nationwide sort of the range. So friends now in Virginia are at a place that's even more difficult than in Baltimore and in Maryland politically to get a decent science community collaboration up and running. There's more obstacles. In California, communities were successful in prohibiting the storage of coal next to communities because they had political strength and a city council that saw the same data, and their adaptation was, we're going to move forward policy that will really go at the heart of this. We're somewhere in the middle, but we're trying to use the place we have to support and learn from others all around that spectrum. It really is a nationwide effort that's underway.
On the last slide I saw about legislation in the upcoming session, and I'm curious is it cumulative impact legislation? And I'm curious like what's in that and how you're mobilizing a network to support that legislation.
Yeah, so it's a bill that we're trying to like develop using same thing using experiences and attempts and other things that other states have done, which is a cumulative impact laws, which doesn't look at because right now when it comes to like permits for operation and stuff like what they are supposed to like submit with their permit is like how much pollution or what they will be, them as a facility will be emitting, and it doesn't really look into like what it's already in the community. And so what this bill is for is, kind of approaching that way, seeing is instead of seeing what you're going to be emitting, well, what is it already comparing it to what's already in the community and overburdening communities like communities in South Baltimore, and would that overburden the community even more, or would it consider the same, and it will really open the way to if it's estimated to be over polluting or contribute in a negative way to already overburdened community, then there's no reason for that or permit to be renewed or operated or accepted.
And it's happening as a part of the MAGIC Coalition, the Mid-Atlantic Justice Coalition, which is with multiple groups that's dealing with a lot of the same different things. And they're all looking for like these bills around with impacts. So it's definitely happening in that realm of like connections and making sure that it's a coalition to protect the bill and promote the bill.
And I believe there's a fact sheet on the
Yes, it is.
approach at the Magic table. So if you want to go by and grab that.
Yeah, we had another session on that.
Does anyone else have any more questions they'd like to ask?
Just toss one thing out. You heard this anthropology class mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe you're thinking, Baltimore City High School has an anthropology class? So that's actually, we're really proud because that came out of Shoshanda and a team of youth around, started a student group, some number of years ago, won't say how many. All these years later, it's not only still there, but it's grown into a collaboration with Towson University, where, and with the high school, the only teacher that's been there, Ms. Joy, if you're somehow listening, who's been there since the school almost got shut down, stuck with it, and then built this program. She marched, speaking of how students get the word out, she marched with us to shut down the proposed incinerator. And anyway, she's helped build this into something that isn't just up to chance, but it's part of the official curriculum. Students get college credit for it, and they get connections like this to join in more efforts with the community. So it's now in a position to grow, and then it's a matter of providing paid opportunities for students to. Anyway, that's this MAGIC anthropology course that you heard about.
Shonda, you don't look that old.
I'm trying to tell you. This is why I keep you young. It's like, no, it's not.
Hang out with them.
I can continue a question for the scholars. I have another one for y'all. Kind of more about, you talked a bit about the preparation for some of the field work that you all did this summer. So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about that and your visit to the MDE and kind of what that experience was like for you all. Yeah, why don't we start? Vilma?
So we all know that there are more than like 70 plus industries in Curtis Bay and everything. And we are tracking a lot of trucks, a lot of diesel trucks that are going through the communities, which the community can't really handle big trucks like those. And we also have energy medical waste incinerator, which we have fought during the summer as well as a CS expert, mass medical waste incinerator, and that has been polluting the community. And going to MDE was really an experience. We didn't get to see Serena McGowan, the secretary of MDE, but we gave them the letters and everything, which was really good for us, but we just wanted to actually give it to them to their hands to explain what the letters were. And we also bought them the tape strips with the letters with the words on it and everything to let them see the dust accumulation on the tape strips so that they can see with their own eyes that the coal dust is getting to the community.
Any other scholars want to touch on any of the, maybe some of the presentations that you all gave too? If you want to talk about that.
I'll take this one. I'm gonna answer that question as well, but I want to kind of talk about the one that was Vilma kind of answered, but I want to talk about the field work and stuff. So the field work was really, really fun. It was something that I really enjoyed a lot. I enjoyed being outside. The whole lecture part of things, where we'd be in the classroom, was kind of boring, I won't lie. But when we actually got out and we were actually doing things, it felt as that everything, even though those lectures and stuff were boring, it was information that we were able to apply with the field work. With being able to, you know, carve out the tape strips. It was really fun coming up with personal statements of what we want to say to MDE. When we went to MDE, it was an interesting visit to MDE, to say the least. We were able to deliver them. Unfortunately, we couldn't have anyone to come down, like a representative or anyone. But we were able to get the letters to them, and on a video call, one of the MDE members did show that they have received the tape strip and that they're at least listening to us, which is good. But as for some of the presentations we did, we had the, what's the name of it? The EJ Tech Summit? EJ Summit?
Yes.
Yeah, EJ Summit, yeah.
The EJ
yeah.
Summit
That's
that
what I'm
happened.
thinking of. So yeah, we had the EJ Summit, which was really fun. Dr. Wilson, wherever he's at right now, he basically, everywhere, he basically moderated that, and we had a really fun time presenting what we did over our work, basically how we're doing now. That was really fun, and it kind of just taught us, you know, getting better at public speaking, things of that nature, because that's one of the things I personally struggle with is public speaking. And so I liked seeing everyone come out of their shell and everyone having opportunity to present and just, you know, talk about the stuff, talk about what we've done, because it's really fun. Like, it really is fun.
I just think you're a harsh critic. Like, your public speaking is fine.
What about the medical waste rally? Protest? I don't know.
I can speak a bit on it. So on our last day, as us being SYEJ for the summer before the school started, we had prepared a rally in front of the medical waste incinerator. This was a response to the black smoke that the medical waste was emitting. We don't have images of it right now, I don't think, but they were emitting multiple black smoke into the community, which they wrote off as steam, which it obviously wasn't. So we went up to the medical waste incinerator, and then we showed them photos of one of the black smoke events. Instead of what we wanted to happen was one of the representatives to come talk to us in front of press. We could ask them whether or not they stand with what they said, calling the black smoke steam. Unfortunately, we didn't get a response. They covered up the entrance with danger warning tape, which Shonda said that it is it is dangerous, you know. And yeah, again, we also what we also did is we informed a bunch of media about the decades of community troubles that came from the medical waste incinerator. What else? Yeah, I think that's it. Is there anything you guys would like to add?
I think also about the medical waste that the students did a lot of research to talk about a lot of the complaints that they already knew about. Some of that research, and then also that this company in particularly had 40 criminal violations that they had pled guilty to, and then that's where that significance come from, that black smoke incident that kept happening, repeating itself, and then them saying, "It's just steam. Everybody's steam is black." And then community, youth, and just people challenging that is not steam. Like, we see steam, and I've never seen it that color. So, yeah, just that.
I just wanted to, first of all, commend you all for your courage and your curiosity. I think it's amazing. You're clearly emerging leaders, and I'm sure this will all make you strong leaders as you get into your next phase of your lives. Also, like, I want to follow you on Instagram. Who are you connecting with out there in the world? This is really powerful. These stories are really powerful. We need to know what's going on. So, who's your communication
we also have a website, or if you want to like contact me, I'm the youth coordinator and the youth outreach engagement. So if you, I can give you my email, or if we go to the next slide, I think it's actually on the slide, my email. If you guys feel like to, yep, there you go, in red.
So you post on the Land Trust Instagram?
Yep.
Okay.
There's also a Coal-Free Curtis Bay Instagram,
Okay.
and that has a lot of information about this issue, especially, and upcoming actions and recent events, especially. So
Is that
that's great.
training video one?
The most recent, the one that's kicking up all the dust, that's on the Land Trust YouTube channel. Yep. With the side-by-side.
You might as well just plug in to follow us on the social media.
That's true.
I was just going to say how I get to be in this position of being at the local community association and seeing how long it can take for some, let's take the truck counts that Jose and others mentioned. Like, that's been an issue that's been talked about every single meeting for a decade. And like the amount, it doesn't seem like a lot, probably from your all's perspective, just doing the work, basically putting the cameras up, counting the trucks, being able to come back to the association and community members to say we've quantified, we've contributed a step. It's obviously not solving the problem, but it's a contribution. Like, you don't see how much that means at the board meetings and the community meetings when you're not there. But it's not, and it's also not just saying, oh, that's so nice that young people have been involved, which is really important. But it is concretely moving the issues forward. And sometimes it's like, you can just see how long, when these issues get set in and nothing happens year after year after year, it takes a push and it takes something new. And this has always been the case, where it seems like nothing's ever going to be able to change, and that's one of the biggest things we're up against. So it just means so much to have a team that's genuinely committed, taking on these things in a way that actually brings something to the table, and you're all bringing both your own individual creativity, but you're also part of a team that set goals, and you've met just about every goal that you set this summer. So it just means a lot. Maybe that's a question back to the group. How many people are going to be with us on
I'm
October
not
10th?
playing.
But it's not by Zoom.
We're working on that,
Yeah.
but we're kind of de-emphasizing it to encourage people to come in person, because they're gonna. But you work in DC, understood.
If we have to, we'll be there, but we understand. Plus, I live in Baltimore, in Canton for many years. And I get it. I used to ride my bike, but they built it all up now.
Yeah, you was telling me. All right, so we don't take away from this though, all right? Back to this meeting. We looking for y'all to be there, all right? We gonna send a link out, but we gonna encourage you in person.
Any other questions from the group? We have a little more time. No? I have, oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, besides the, we talked about this upcoming call to action and the health study. So I kind of just wanted to ask, or see, maybe Maddie, if you want to give a little more information about the community health panel study.
Sure. Yeah, I can talk about the upcoming community health panel study, and then I also just have a reflection upon just hearing some of the feedback from or kind of the experience from the scholars. It was really moving to me. So kind of the next phase of a lot of the work that we've been building over the past few years together is a study to actually connect, and Minor talked about this, is to connect these very acute exposures to coal dust in the community, and coal material making its way into the community, but also these related noise pollution, malodors that are making their way into the community, but connecting these exposures to health outcomes and health effects, health and quality of life effects to residents. And so Minor talked about these daily diaries, twice daily diaries that residents or participants in the study will be filling out to talk about any acute symptoms that they're experiencing. Minor brought up nausea, any respiratory irritation, mucosal irritation, but also changes in daily activities, changes in behaviors due to experiencing and due to observing this pollution in their environment that's affecting them. Well, at the same time, we'll also be taking exposure measurements. So we'll have a suite of air monitors that are allowing us to make connections to when we're picking up this amount of pollution residents are tending to report that they're experiencing these outcomes as well. And so we can start to make relationships between these exposures in the community and then these reported outcomes or health outcomes and quality of life outcomes in the community. And so a lot of the health outcomes and metrics that we're looking at are informed. I mean, all of them are informed by what residents are saying that they're experiencing. So as a part of developing the study, as a part of developing the diary, we were sending texts, or we were like in meetings with Greg, Carlos, et cetera, and they were texting some other residents in the community, like, what are some of the things that you're experiencing? What are these symptoms that we should be bringing into the diary, so that what we're producing for and setting up for the study is actually relevant to what's being experienced in the community. And that's where it kind of connects to like some of my reflection as an academic researcher, being a part of this process and a part of this collaboration it's I think in my experience in the space, it's short-lived for right now, but or it's been short right now, but it's pretty rare that a researcher is as close to community and to youth in a summer program like this, and being able to learn about what justice looks like from in research, but also in practice. And the gentleman in the Max question from earlier, and connecting to the lunchtime plenary, thinking about like all of these issues are interconnected, and there's one session that's talking about how to develop and transition to a more just energy framework and reality. Meanwhile, there's these negative externalities in communities in Curtis Bay. Not even externalities, these negative impacts to posing this new, like, what does a new energy transition look like? And justice is transformational. Justice isn't something that is about maintaining the status quo. And that's what I wish maybe there were some more more discussion about that in the session from earlier, about what is an actual transformational movement and just movement in the energy in our energy ecosystem. What does that really look like? And I appreciated the question that the gentleman asked downstairs, really calling on kind of calling out like what are we really talking about here? And a lot of what I learned from these scholars and from working with the youth, especially from an academic perspective, is that our research also needs to be transformational. It needs to not be able to, or just maintaining the status quo within academia, but partnerships and collaboration like this, where researchers are learning from youth, like implementing what I'm learning from them on a daily basis to what we're putting out into scientific literature and into academia. Like, that's what transformational research can really look like. And so I've learned a lot from, and I have a lot of like pride in these young people, and what I've been able to learn from them and learn alongside them. Yeah, just some reflections from just being a part of this, or in this conference, but also from the couple summers of working with these folks here. And I implore you all to think about what transformation looks like in your space, what justice looks like, and how you can really take part in that.
Alrighty, if we have any other questions, I think we're right around time, but we might have, yeah, we have time.
What's the parking like going to be at the meeting in October 10th?
Oh, good question.
I think it's going to be a lot of people showing up.
But if you get there early. There's actually a parking lot, and then there's street parking.
Okay. Yeah, it's good.
So it always works out. We packed it fairly regularly. We have a really big turnout, so it's workable.
Running out of parking will be the right problem.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
right.
Good question, though. All right. Well, I just want to thank the panel again for all that you have, told us today. And make sure, if you haven't already, scan the QR code or write down the email, and we hope to see you in October. Thank you.